Hello once again. You are welcome to our YouTube channel Pawn to Pro, where we take it from beginner level to IM level. Like, subscribe, and share the video. Today we'll continue with our chess pieces movement, and we're talking about the queen. The queen. This is the queen. Queens can vary quite a lot in appearance from chess set to chess set, but she is usually the second in height next to the king, and is also easy to identify because there is only one queen of each color per set, unlike the bishop and a knight where there are two, or there's no one queen. The queen is the most powerful piece in your army. She combines the movement of both the rook and the bishop diagonal. So the rook moves on ranks and files, and the bishop moves diagonally. So the queen embodies both the rook movement and the bishop movement. From this position on e5, the queen can move diagonally, vertically, and horizontally. For example, the queen could move to g7. It could move to b5. It could move to a1 or c3, or I could decide to move one square. Here is another queen, this time on c6. Note the squares to which it can move. But this time, its movement is hindered by three of its own pieces. The bishop on e6, the pawn on b7, and the rook on f3. So this queen cannot jump over its own piece. It cannot jump over its own piece. So its movement are being hindered by its own pieces. But they can move to c3. Now look at this queen on f3 and the squares to which it can move. Its movement is being hindered by two of its opponent pieces on c3 and c6. When one of your opponent pieces lies in your path of your queen, you may not jump over it, but you can capture it. When your queen captures an opponent piece, it moves to the square the piece was on. Let's capture the rook on c6. Bishop takes rook. As previously mentioned, the queen is the most powerful of all pieces because of her ability to attack so many squares at once. In a game, a wise player is careful not to bring the queen out too early. We are going to continue some drills on how to move the queen and capture in the following exercises. Exercise 1. The queen on c4 can legally move to one of these highlighted squares. Which of these highlighted squares can the queen move? We say the queen embodies both the bishop and the rook movement. Rooks move on ranks and files. Bishop move diagonals. So then, since we are now conversant with the queen movement, which one of these squares can the queen move to legally? As you can see, the h4 square is being highlighted. The queen could have moved there, but it's been obstructed by its opponent piece, so it's not a legal move. The queen cannot move to e3. There's a knight movement. It's not on its diagonal. The queen can move on a file c1. It could have come to c1, but it's being hindered by the pawn on c2. And so too goes with the c8 square is being blocked by this pawn. So the only legal square this queen can move is on g8. g8.
Correct.
Continue with more drills and exercises. This time around, there are two queens on the board, a black queen on f4 and a white queen on b5. Which of these queens can legally move to one of these highlighted squares? So we now have two queens on the board. We have to check the two queens movement. So let's go about with the black queen. Queens move vertically and horizontally like a rook, and diagonally like bishops. So on this diagonal, there are no highlighted squares. On this diagonal, there are no highlighted squares. On this f file, there are no highlighted squares. On the fourth ring, there's a highlighted squares, but this queen is being obstructed by its own piece. So it's not possible for the black queen to move to a highlighted square. Let's go about it with the white queen on b5. Vertically, Yep, there's a square, but this queen is being obstructed by its enemy piece. Diagonally, there's a square on E8, but it's being obstructed by its own piece. And then horizontally, yeah, H5.
That's correct.
More drills, only one of the queen can move to a high letter square. So we have the white queen on G4 and the black queen on B7. And so we check the queen movement. Check the queen movement. Notice that the white queen cannot move any higher letter square. The white queen is being obstructed by its own piece here. It's being obstructed by its enemy piece, so it can't get to this square. It's being obstructed by this row, so it cannot get to G8 square. So go to the black queen. There are no high squares on this file. There are no high squares on this file. There are no high squares on this diagonal. And there's a high square on this diagonal, H1.
You got it right.
More drills. We have to identify all the squares on which this queen can move, including capture if possible. So queen move horizontally. It's being obstructed by its own piece, so this is not a capture. This is a capture because this is an enemy piece. Vertically, it's being obstructed by its own piece, so it can jump over that piece. Then we'll go diagonally. It's being obstructed by its own piece. And this is a capture because this is a diagonal. This is an enemy piece. There's a capture as well. There's an enemy piece. So these are all the squares this queen on F4 can move to. Horizontally, vertically, diagonally both way, up and down, and left and right. Diagonally. The same rubric, we have to select all the squares or how this queen can move to, including capture. We have to identify all those squares. So queen move vertically. So this is a capture, this is an opening piece. This is a capture, this is an opening piece. Vertically, this is an obstruction because it's its own piece. And then we'll go diagonally. And no piece up. And there's a capture because it's an opening piece. Another diagonal this way. Obstruction because it's its own friendly piece. And another obstruction. So these are the squares on which this queen can move to, including capture. More exercises. We have to find or identify all the squares on which this queen can move, including capture. Queen move. Yep. Capture this one and capture this one. Diagonally. Obstruction by its own piece. Another obstruction. And then we'll go horizontally. This is a capture. So it depends your position of the queen. You go vertically, horizontally, diagonally both ways. Diagonally and diagonally. In this drill, we are to use the white queen on A8 to capture all the black pawns on every move. The black pawns will not move. So we have to plan ahead. So we have to plan ahead. So come this way. This is the first one in our path. Now when we get here, this is our obstruction. So we come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, come here, and come here. So that's how this the path will take.
Correct. Good. Keep going. Correct. 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 Good. You got them all.
In this exercise, we are to capture all the weapons with our queen on every move. The weapons will not move. So we have to plan ahead. So then in our mind we plan this way here. Mm, come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. And then come here. So that will be our plan. From here. Let's do it one more time in our mind. Here. Then here. Then here. Then here. Then here. Then here. Yeah. So let's go about it.
Correct. 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 Correct.
And the last one.
Good. You got them all.
In this exercise, we have to capture an opponent piece, not a pawn, an opponent piece with one of our queen. So we must first identify the queens on the board, b1 and a6. One of these queens can capture an opponent piece. Which of these queen? Now as we check the queen on b1, there are no opponent piece in its path. We check the queen on a6. There's an opponent piece on its path, but it's being obstructed by its own piece. So there are no opponent piece vertically. There are no opponent piece this diagonal. Let's check this diagonal and see. Aha, there's an opponent piece on f1, a rook. So this queen can capture this opponent piece on f1.
Correct.
Our last exercise for the queen movement. Only one of the queen on this board can capture an opponent piece. So let's check the white queen vertically. There are no opponent piece in this path. Horizontally, there's an opponent piece here, but it's being obstructed by its own piece. Diagonally, there are no opponent piece on this diagonal. Let's check this queen on f8. Horizontally, there are no opponent piece in this path. diagonally is being obscured by its own pawn, another diagonal obscursion. And vertically, there's an opening piece on its path, f1.
That's right.
Thanks for joining me on learning the queen movement. Let's go over it once again. The queen is the most powerful piece on the board, and there are one queen per army. Unlike two bishops and two rogues or two knights, there are one queen per army. The queen moves like a rook and a bishop. It moves vertically and horizontally. It also moves diagonally like a bishop. The queen cannot jump over its own piece. It's being obstructed by its own piece here, so it cannot jump over this knight. Join me next time for a king movement as we learn the game of chess. See you. Have a nice day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video.